Välkomna. Först skulle jag vilja fråga, is there any people who only speak English here? It is. Any Magnus is going to do this in English, if that is all right for everybody. So we want to say welcome to Magnus Månsson. We all know him as Ganja, 1447.
Well, thank you. Yeah? Oh, sorry. Now you can hear me. Well, thank you. As you said, my name is Magnus Månsson, known as Ganja 1447. I'm the creator of Project GC. Is there anyone here that haven't heard of Project GC before? About one guy. Feels special. Anyone who hasn't used it? Yeah, a few, not very many. I'll take just a short intro then. The site is originally written to handle mostly about statistics. It can show you like caches sorted by favorite points in different regions and stuff like that. It can create profile statistics showing your achievements, how many caches you have found, how many cache types in one day, everything like that, or a lot of things like that, almost everything. But we have also created quite a lot of other tools, which could be called statistics, it could be called something helpful. What we will go into today has the topic how to plan your geocaching trip using Project GC. The point is that we want to travel somewhere. We know we're going to a city somewhere, and in this presentation we will have a fictional travel to Berlin in Germany. I will go there with two of my friends, and the question is, what will we do in this town? I don't know the exact number, but I guess Berlin has like 1,000 caches. We maybe will be there for 1 or 2 days. We cannot log 1,000 caches. So which caches should we choose? And we will then look into what we want to do and try to convert that into some form of cache list. And what we want to focus on is caches that we believe are good. We will base this on the favorite points in different ways. We'll be interested in logging large caches because it's fairly rare. We'll look into some odd cache types like webcam caches, virtual caches. Those are what's it called? Grandfathered. So you can't create any more of them. They are fairly rare in Sweden, where I live, and my friends them. But I know there's quite a few in Berlin, for example. So we want to log those because we're a bit of statistical nerds. So they are very cool to have. So some things like that. I'll go through it step by step. I'm just going to look at my sheet paper here. So two more things. Many of the things I will talk about today requires a paid membership for Project GC. I won't say that most content at Project GC is free, but some parts requires a subscription. The current fee is 18 euros per year. There is a trial, so if you're interested in testing it, you can activate a 10-day trial for free. You don't need to add any credit card numbers or anything, so you can just activate the trial, and it will expire after 10 days, and you're not bothered in any way about it. I will talk a lot. I will try to keep it 45 minutes. And you're free to interrupt me, try to raise your hands, and hopefully I see it. If I don't see it, you can try to yell a bit after a while. Let's see. So as I mentioned, the idea is that I'm going to Berlin with my friends. We're going to look at things like large caches, climbing gear caches, cover some hidden moms, hidden dates, difficulty train combinations that we need for completing our DT matrices. Maybe log some different counties or landkreis that it's called in Germany. Try to find the best caches, and as mentioned, some odd cache types like virtuals and webcams. And we'll also use a function called solved mysteries to see if we have any mysteries we have solved earlier that actually exist in Berlin. And we'll also see if there are any challenge caches that we had fulfilled that we can log easily. So for this planning, we'll use something called Virtual GPS in Project Easy. That is a paid feature, so in that way everything you do will require this paid membership to actually save it. But most of the menus we use, where you can see the content, is for free. So we'll look into the Virtual GPS. You can see it there. It's like a shopping cart, you could say. But you can have several shopping carts or wagons. So we go into the Virtual GPS system. You can just ignore this list. It's probably something I've tested with. We'll just create a new list. For my own reference, I'll call it FUD 2014. Now, if I had some caches already knew that we were going to take or log, I could just add the GC codes here. Or we just create it empty so that we can start shopping. It's supposed to select the list automatically here, but I know it don't. We'll have to fix that at some point. So now we have selected this shopping cart. It's empty. So now we need to find the caches that we want to look into. We'll start with trying to find the best caches. Normally you would say that the best caches are those with a lot of favorite points. I assume most here knows what favorite points are. Every premium member at geocaching.com can, for every 10th logged cache, you can add a favorite point at one cache. You can never say, with this system, you can never say that the cache is bad. You can just say, it's good, it's good. So the most simple way here is to look straight up at favorite points. Oh, I mentioned. So we go into statistics. We have some different sections here. I really want to point at my screen, but it doesn't help you. So for statistics about caches then, we'll use the section cache stats. And here we have, you can see it already, we have some different favorite point systems. But we'll start with the simple one. This is a list that's purely sorted by number of favorite points per cache. So this section here is called filters. You can say it says filters here. The only lie about that is that the profile name actually isn't a filter, it's more like a highlight. I can click the guy here, or if it's a girl, I can't really see. And it will autofill my own name. And then I select where I'm going. I forgot to say, the name isn't a filter, but it's more like a highlight system if I didn't say it. And excuse me for repeating myself. We'll go to Germany and we choose Berlin. Then we press filter and the site will list the best, or let's say it's the best caches of Berlin. It's at least those with the most favorite points. Now since I entered my name, you can see that, I hope you can see there as well, yes. There are some different colors on the bars. It doesn't really say anywhere what the colors are, something I want to fix, but I don't really know how and so on, so it has been low priority. But the light blue one that we have on the top one is caches that I have already logged. So maybe they are not very interesting in this case. The darker blue ones is caches I have not logged. The gray ones are disabled. So maybe they're interesting if I'm going there in a month from now. If I'm going there tomorrow, I guess they're not too interesting because it's not likely I can log them. The black ones are archived, so they are even less interesting. Now if we want to, we can use some advanced filtering to actually remove the disabled and archived ones as well. Oh, I'm going to quick here. I can click the filter up here, that's a bit minimized. And use the add filter box. And there are some different filters for different things. For this, we will use the hide, disabled, archived, and premium. Sorry. Cable issues. Let's see. So we're not interested in disable and archive. If I wasn't a premium member with geocaching.com, I probably don't want to see the premium caches either, because I can't log them anyway. So we press filter again to get the new list. So as you can see, I've logged 3 of the 5 best. I'll keep this pretty simple. Normally I would probably look into, like, I don't know, top 30 or something to see where it is, maybe read the cache descriptions and so on. But since you don't really have time for me staying here for 1 or 2 days actually planning my trip for real, we'll make it a bit simpler. So we say I want to look into the 5 best caches of Berlin. What really can help me then is to see them on a map, because some of them might actually be quite outside of Berlin, and maybe I want to log those that are quite much in the center. Then I can press the Create Map button. It asks me how many caches from its top list they want to include in the map. So we'll choose top 5. It's a bit also because, as you can see, the top 5 has quite a lot more FP than the others, or at least 50% more. So I create a map of those 5. Here you can already see that we have one cache quite far away from Berlin. So I'll make a quick decision that we're not going to drive there. I'll just focus here. Excuse me. You can also, on the map, see that there are some smileys on some of the icons. That's the ones that had a light blue bar in the top list. Those I have already logged. I can actually choose to hide them. Not there, sorry. I can use the geocaching plugin for the maps. I click on the thumb button and they disappear. Then I actually only have 1 cache left. Let's say I read a bit about this, see that it's very interesting. I decide this one is a cache we want to log on the trip. I then press the button for adding to Virtual GPS, and you will see that it slides up into the Virtual GPS menu up here. Like that. Nice. Then one could discuss if the best caches really are those who has the most favorite points. I would personally say no. It's usually more that they are quite easy, they're located in a very good position, like very central, close to train stations and such. So then there are 2 other ways to measure the best caches, as I see it. You can discuss something called favorite points percent. If a cache has 1,000 logs, it has 800 favorite points, then it has an 80% favorite points ratio. It's fairly good, but as the trend isn't really the same for all the caches, or for the lifetime, one can learn that usually it's quite common that the cache can get 10 of 10 favorite points, which is 100%, but it's very rare that the cache gets 100 of 100. Therefore, I believe there are different methods to do this, and there is a statistical formula, which has a very long name. We call it Wilson score in short at Project GC. Now see, we actually have a real name here. So, to those that are statistical nerds and mathematics, they would call it lower bound of Wilson score confidence interval with Bernoulli parameters. I think it's a bit too long to repeat all of the time. So this is, if we go back to that, a cache that has 10 of 10 favorite points, you would have gotten 100%, but in this statistical measure, it might only get like 80%, while a cache who has 100 of 100 will get like 95 maybe. So it's rated depending on how many logs it has as well. So in my opinion and in my experience, this is the top list that actually shows you the caches that usually are the best. So we'll take a look at this list as well. And again, we get some, that one is archived, get some disabled. So we can do the same thing as we did last time. We just decide that we don't want to see those. They are not interesting at all. Now we look at this list and we see, okay, we can't do all of them. It's quite even. So we decide on a breakpoint and they say, let's look at all that has 70% or more. That's the top 22 I can see here quite fast. So let's create a map. Create a map of the top 22. What we can see here, let's get some map over, oh well. Germany is a bit blank today. What we can see is that it's mostly mystery caches, where I go, and multi-caches, but there also is a traditional here. Since my German is quite bad, or something I don't use at least, yeah. If this was a real planning, I would actually look into all these to try to figure if I could solve them, could understand them and so on. But today we're lazy, so we decide that the traditional is really interesting. It has 82% favorite points. That's not the Wilson score. So that one went to log. Again, we have press this loss, and it drops into the virtual GPS. I seem to have sidestepped a bit from my script. And yeah, and then it's about reading about them, trying to figure out, I mean, 89% is a really good cache. So maybe I want to look into it. I can full screen my browser. And maybe, let's say I decide that this one is good as well. I will understand this, it's not a problem. Read the logs a bit, it's probably no problem. And I have to add that one as well. So that's pretty much how you work with the top lists, and especially the favorite points then. If it was a real planning, I would probably have added like 20, 30 by now. So what else do we want to do? We talked about the special or odd cache types. The best way to find those, now it requires some experience with PartGC, but I know MapCompare can be used for a lot of things. So, see, again, Germany, Berlin. Here's some old filters. We remove the log date. It's not interesting for this one. But we want to look at some special types. So we want to look at virtual cache, for example. No, webcam. Let's start with webcam. My friends probably don't want to log what I've already logged, and vice versa. So, hard to spell. So I add one of my friends who's going with me on the trip. Okay, so what can we see here then? We can see that there are 2 webcam caches, but none of us has logged. If there were any that we both had logged, we would see those and so on. So in this case, it's quite simple. We choose to log both these. They are very rare. We really want them, even if it requires some driving. We could even actually add more than one cache type at once. So let's add virtual cache to the map. Now you can see that the virtual caches are green because we both have logged them. What's also interesting is that, there we go, there. Oops, sorry. Those caches that we've already logged might be a bit hard to see, but you have a little virtual GPS icon here, so you can see that we already added in the virtual GPS. Let's see, what did we do now? You can even compare with more people. So let's add another one from group. We'll actually see the same result. No one has logged these two. It was a bit bad example, but you can compare with yourself and 10 others. The next thing we want to look into. Basically this is map compare doesn't have to compare with someone. You can use it to just look at your own maps, and it's like a default map view. Maybe I regret the name a bit, but it has the function of comparing as well. But it's the most generic map at Project GC. Let's see. So I'm a DT collector as well, meaning that I want to collect all the 81 different combinations of difficulty and terrain. I already had a few loops or laps, but there's a perfect tool at Project GC, and it's map-based, so it's in tools, map-based, then it's called Map DT Matrix. Add my name. I want to go to German Berlin, and I press filter. It will show me how my DT matrix looks today. With the colors, you can see those yellow, they actually have caches in the area I've selected. If they were in the red, there are no caches that can help me currently. So, there are quite a few, and as expected, it's mysteries and multi-caches and so on, so they might be quite confusing when you don't speak the language. You also have a list down here, and looking at this list I can see a challenge. Maybe I fulfill that one. So I can click on here, I can read about it. If I had some internet. So I can read about it, I can figure out, oh, I actually fulfill this one, not a problem. I want to log that one. I can add it to the GPS by clicking here and then add. Or I can find it on the map, and I already know where it is. And same as before, first plus, and it goes into the virtual box, virtual GPS. This DT tool can also look into the future of my future laps by adding an additional filter. Add the loop filter. It says here that it's showing for loop number 9. So if I look into loop number 10 instead, you can see that I get some more yellow boxes, and I will also get some more caches here. I'm not going to dig deeper into that right now. But we just added a challenge. Maybe Germany has more challenges that we want to log. Then we have a challenge checker system at Project GC. We have had it for about 1 year. It was totally rewritten from scratch about 4 weeks ago, something like that, and it's now improved a lot. About 70% of all the challenge caches in Sweden has a checker, where you more or less just add your name and you ask for GC, do I fulfill this one? And it says yes or no, and might give you some feedback. So maybe we have some checkers for Germany, Berlin as well. I know we do. Shouldn't take that up. So tools, challenges, and then I know there's a map tool, that's very good for this purpose. Again, we tell the site, Germany, Berlin. We're not interested in archive caches. Cache name doesn't matter. We're interested in those that has a checker, which will make it simple for me to actually know if I fulfill them. So we can see 3 challenges here. We should also see that one of them has the vertical GPS icon up to the top left. It's the one we added earlier. So we can then look into the one staying close. And you can also see here is a link to a checker at Project GC for this one. Press the checker. Scroll down a bit, you can see the cache name, you can see the script name used. There are many different scripts. You can see who created the script and created a tag for it. I fill in my profile name, it's actually already built for me. I press run checker, and you can see, look at the screen, it says I fulfill the challenge. It gives me an example log, and it actually gives me a fairly pretty representation as well. Neat, then I know I can log that one as well. Let's do that. I mean, we are 200 meters away. Add that to the list. Easy. And then we can check the third challenge we found as well. Skip that now. Digging into the next tool. Or stop it. Stop it. See for some hidden months. Many geocachers or statistics addicted want to log at least one cache that's hidden in every month since geocaching started. I know that I don't have any here personally, so I'll choose one of my travel mates. There are some caches. We also have a table down here. You can see that we all are in the same month. So it doesn't really matter which one we log, as long as we manage to figure out how it works and actually can log it. If we want to, we can of course add all 3 to the list, and later on, when we are in Berlin, decide which one we want to log. But for now, I'll just choose one. That one. So it's in the list. Another awesome tool then. Sometimes you sit at home and you solve some mystery caches here and there, maybe not in Berlin so often, but it could happen. Then we have a tool called Solve Mysteries. This one has some quirks. To actually know that you have solved the mysteries, you have to tell Project GC in some way. The best way to tell Project GC is to add the final coordinates into the cache note at the geocaching.com site. Then Project GC will know about it. So I'll plot a map of all the solved mystery caches I have in Berlin. I happen to know that it's one, because I solved it a few days ago, just because of this. So, a mystery cache I've solved, very hard, T1. That is important. Let's log that one as well. So, as you see, I try to combine a lot of different statistical views to find the caches I want and put them in the shopping cart. And now we're all do climbing gear caches in my team, and so why not do that in Berlin as well? That is a bit tricky, because there are no default filters that will fix this for us. But there's a system called custom filters. I guess they could be called advanced or very advanced filters as well. You can do a lot with them if you understand them. I'll just give you a short hint of what you can do. Here I have quite a few existing filters. Let's ignore those. Create a new one. Let's call it FUD 2014 2, because I might already have one, I'm not sure. Right now it won't do anything because we need to add statements to it. So we wanted the climbing gear caches, okay? That should be under attributes, and I know there should be some nice icon here. Okay, I want climbing gear. That is one. Then we can choose if we want to find caches that do not have the attribute or have the attribute. And if, no, sorry, that's there. It should be yes or no, and if the attribute should be required or not. So you want to require that the caches have that attribute. Add it up here, and the nice thing is you can build many statements and build really advanced filtering. So I could add cache that requires climbing gear but has no boat or park and grab, has a D2 more or less, and so on. Just add more stuff. So let's filter that one. I'll save that one. So again, we'll go back to map compare. It was very useful. It remembers my filtering I used last time. It's me, it's my two group members, it's Germany, Berlin. We're not interested in type anymore, but we want to add our custom filter. It's there. And the site will install the climbing gear caches in Berlin. Oh, that's a lot. So we want to do some fun climbing gear caches, and we decide that we don't think tree climbing is fun, for example. When going into the custom filters again, edit our filter, edit that statement. Okay, let's say a minute. We do not allow caches that has the tree climbing set. We save that one. So back to map compare again. It's the same filters as last time. We just modified the custom filter. And now it's quite a few less. We'll read a bit about these. We decide we'll log that one, that one is really fun. And that one is a super cache. I have no idea. Let's see. So now we have stored a few caches. Normally I would probably have a list of like 50 at least now, 100 maybe. This time it's a bit less. You will see that the view is divided into different sections. It's usually from where I've added the caches. You can see caches that comes from map compare, from map matrix, that's my DT scores, challenges, and so on. The GPS system will be totally rewritten actually, so hopefully it will not look like this in a month or so from now, but the functionality will be the same, or actually better and faster. So what can we now do with our shopping cart? First off, we want to look at the map. We can map the whole list to see where we're going. Okay, it looks quite good. Maybe if I hadn't been careful before, I've had a cache down here that I maybe want to drop from the list and so on. This looks fairly doable. We decide that this is fine. If we don't think it's fine, we can remove the complete section, for example. Let's say we're just complete section. can remove caches that we own or have found and such. So we can manipulate this list quite a lot. But wait a minute, we're driving to Berlin, so we actually don't only want to look into Berlin, because we have a long travel as well. I'm not sure, from here it should be, I don't know, 800 kilometers something. That's quite long. We need a break on the way. So can Parcheesi help us finding the best caches on the way to Berlin? I wouldn't ask if it couldn't. So we have a tool called Route Builder. Let's create a new route. Or not. That's weird. Get them out of internet again. Ooh. That's nice. So let's drop that one then. Thank you. So back on track. We press the new route button. We name it to something that we recognize. But 2014 again. Now what will happen is that the route builder will find a way for us to drive from Skåne to Berlin. We then need to decide how far from our driving route do we want to find caches. Let's choose like 2 kilometers. It's more or less if we want to stop for a short break, no real I can't find a word. We're going to drive, but we could choose walking, bicycling as well. We want to start in, we're taking the ferry to Rostock, Germany. So from there to Berlin, we want to find something. Press the build route, and you will see how it's created. We'll drive this way. It will look for caches within these black squares. Save the route so we can use it in other places. It says successful saved route. Once again, we're going to map compare tool. No, sorry, we're not. We'll try to find the best caches along the route. And as earlier I wanted to, my belief is that the Wilson score is excellent for that. So now we don't need to filter on Berlin since we want to find things on the way. We can keep removing disabled and archive, not very interesting. We add our route. See, and we filter. So these should be the caches that are the best caches that are close to our route. What we could do is we could create a custom filter that excluded Berlin, for example, because most of these will actually be in Berlin. But let's skip that for now, but it could be done. So this top list doesn't really say as much about where we are. So once again, we can create a map to actually get a better overview. Let's create a map of the top 50. And you will see that, as I mentioned, most of them are down in Berlin. We have a few up in Rostock, it's a big city. But we also have something on the way. There's a multicache that I have already logged. That's nice. But that one, traditional 500 favorite points. that must be awesome, and it's perfect for leg stretcher. So we add that one to our list as well. And then we can look into Rostock, of course. Oh, a letterbox, that's always interesting. You can log that one in the morning. I guess I have to round up soon, but I'm almost done. Another thing that could be interesting is the Nat Regans tool. Now I've already logged all the interesting again, so I'll add one of my friends. This tool that will show you all the regions in the country. The polygons will be red if you haven't logged them, and they will be green if you have logged them, like Berlin is for Lilleflon. So what I could do, I can press them and see that there are 0 finds here. I can also add a filter. This is not needed yet, but there's a predefined filter for PGC, Easy Grab. It's more or less caches that have a low D rating, low T rating, they have park and grab attributes. So I'll find those that are easy. I know we start in Rostock, so let's look. What can we log in Rostock that will help us achieve this region? There's quite a lot of easy caches. This is not really for getting good caching experience. We just want to show that we were here more or less. So I'll just choose one random, take a look at it, see that it's not full of DNF and so on. Or actually, I know it's not because it's included in the PGC Easy Finds filter. And the same, exactly the same, can be done with counties, which is then is lower level. I can use myself. Add more or less the same filters. I have some more, but maybe we'll decide that we can log this county. It's the same. I click on it. Get the caches. We're probably going to drive here somewhere or there. We want something close to border. Zoom in. That one is close to road. I'll log that one as well. So let's do something about this virtual GPS. It doesn't really help you, but PortGC knows what you want to do. So we can do some different things here. We can download it as a CSV. CSV is a comma-separated file. Can be imported into Excel, for example, and many other softwares. It can be used if you want to send it to your friends, manipulate it in other ways, and such. You can also build a GPX. I'll do that. PortGC is a big caching layer. It never has the latest data anywhere, more or less. So you can ask PortGC to make sure none of the caches has information that is older than 1 day before you build the GPX. First refresh them. You can decide how many logs you want to include with the cache. There'll be more logs, the bigger GPX. You can send me an email when it's done. If I have corrected coordinates that are known for PortGC, add them or use them instead as the original. I can also tell PortGC to look for corrected. Add Garmin improvement is a function that will add a log before everything else that contains some basic information like attributes that isn't normally included. So now I just press build. And it will build the GPX in the background. I can see the job in here. Here it's queued. I'll get a mail when it's done. It might take 1 or 2 minutes, let's not really wait for it. When it's done, I'll get an icon to download it. I can then import it into my Garmin GPS, CGeo, and most other geocaching applications. What we'll also look into, have started on, is something called Send to CGeo. Is anyone here familiar with Send to CGeo? Yeah, some. That was not a lot actually. I haven't used it myself until a few weeks ago when I wanted to test it. But it's quite nifty. So we'll try to implement that. It's more or less you'll press a button at PortGC and say I want this sent to CGeo. And inside CGeo, You will, with, I don't know, 3 clicks maybe, get all the caches imported into CGI automatically. So no need to download files, move them in folders, connect devices to computers and such. It's a pretty smart solution, but we have to build it in cooperation with CEU, so it's taking a bit of time. They're very friendly and helpful, but we have some technical difficulties. Actually, I think this is all for me. So, I hope you've seen some new aspects and that you will see ProGC as more than just statistics and something that you actually can use to plan with. Because this is the main tool I use for my trips at least. So I want to thank you all for showing your interest.